Alright everybody, if you recognize this site, then you know what's about to go down. Making fried green tomatoes. It's one of my favorite things to look forward to, and this will be about the fourth batch of fried green tomatoes I'll be making this year. Just want to showcase you what our tomatoes are doing right now. This is a variety called Vintage Wine. It's got that really unique coloration on it. I think they're just wonderful. They do have a little bit of kind of odd shape to some of them. This was two flowers that was conjoined, so it's kind of like a conjoined twin tomato. They look really good. These here are rose. They're kind of like a beefsteak kind. They slice up really well. This is one of those blossom, conjoined blossom situations. Kind of the same thing here, but they're really meaty. They don't have a lot of juice to them, and they're perfect for frying up. These here on the side, this is one small Arkansas Traveler, and these here are all porter tomatoes. They're about a 2 ounce, 1.5 to 2 ounce tomato. Much bigger than a cherry tomato. It's about, if you took a cherry tomato and a grape tomato and put them together, it's probably about what you get. But when I'm just to maximize space in the air fryer, I like to use different sizes of tomatoes so that when I'm putting them in there, I can really maximize the space. So we're going to get right into it. I'm going to get these sliced up and show you how we do that. So I'll remove the tops with my hand there, just like that. Move these all to the side. And the first slice, try to get this good on camera, I try to just kind of skim off just a little bit, just like that. The reason is the breading and the egg mixture does not stick very well to the exterior of the tomato. So if you don't skim that off, this part here doesn't like to, breading and stuff doesn't like to stick to. So I like to skim that off. You don't waste much tomato. And then you just want to try to make sure you're cutting them evenly, just so they cook evenly. I'd say, I mean, that's obviously there's a little bit of angle on that, but it's close enough. That's about a 1/4 inch, and you can see the inside of that tomato. It's really, really meaty. It's just an excellent tomato I've found for making these fried green tomatoes. And I believe I have about, I think I planted 8 plants total, and 3 of them are that vintage wine variety. I'm really pleased with how those have turned out. Now I'm going to cut into one of these rows, and same thing. You want to take the edge off of them, set that to the side. That'll be put in the compost pile, and then I always just take that little bit of a core out. Oops, be careful. Hit my skin there, but I didn't cut myself, so there we go. Get that out of the way. That'll go in the compost pile. And then make some cuts. And after I get a couple cuts in, I'll show you what the center of that tomato looks like. Look how meaty that is. Perfect for tomato sandwiches when they're ripe, and just absolutely perfect for fried green tomatoes. Cut that bottom off. That'll go in the compost pile. Try not to waste anything in the kitchen. It either gets eaten or composted. So, side-by-side comparison. This is a rose. This is a vintage wine. Both of these were, the seed came from M.I. Gardner. Very pleased with their seed. It's like $2 a packet. And I think there was 25 seeds per packet. And it was enough for, you know, I've already picked about $20 worth of tomatoes. And I had $10 worth of seed between 5 varieties, so, and it's early in the season. The tomato plants are loaded. I could go out there right now and I could pick 200 tomatoes if I wanted to. Probably about, there's probably about, the vintage wine, there's about 15 of those out there. The rose, there's about 20 of those out there. Arkansas Traveler, which I'm not going to plant those again. I thought these were going to be like an 8 ounce tomato. These are turning out to just be, most of them out there like 3 or 4 ounces, but there's about 40 of these out there, and the rest of that 200 would be in these. But that's what the Arkansas looks like. Just wanted to give you a comparison there. And then I'm going to slice this porter. The porter was a fast maturing variety. That's why I selected it. I'd never grown any of these varieties before. I really wanted to just try something different. And that's that. If you look at the center, it much more resembles like a cherry tomato. It's a lot more juicy. So that's what you'll get. Well, I'm going to let you go for a second. I'm going to go ahead and get these sliced up. And next time we come back, I'll be preparing the batter for these FGTs. See you in a minute. Alright, welcome back. Just wanted to give you a quick look at how much I sliced up. This will be enough for us to eat with dinner. My two littlest ones don't really care for them, but my oldest daughter and me and my wife really like them, so this will be good enough. They don't really do very well for leftovers. They get kind of soggy. You can air fry them again to heat them up, and you know they'll be decent, but they're best fresh. So I'm going to set these to the side. And we're going to mix up the batter. Now this is not by any means the only way you can do it. If you asked 10 different people who make fried green tomatoes, you're liable to get 10 different recipes. But, and I say recipe very loosely because I don't even really measure this stuff. But it is what it is. And I'm pretty flexible on what I use. Like sometimes I use breadcrumbs and panko. Sometimes I just use panko. My last batch, I actually finished up my breadcrumbs. So this here are panko breadcrumbs versus just your regular like Progresso style, you know, very small particulate breadcrumbs. Seasoned or unseasoned, whatever your preference is. So I put that in there. And then, kind of a secret ingredient, it's not really a secret ingredient, but Kentucky Kernel seasoned flour. And this is really going to be where a lot of your flavor comes from. Like I said, I don't measure. I just know basically how much I'm going to need. And I usually run out and have to make some more. If I was giving you an estimate on proportions, I would say right now I have twice as much panko as I do seasoned flour. You can also use unseasoned flour, which I have right here. I keep it in the freezer, so I don't use it a whole lot. This is self-rising, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, this is a little self-rising. You can use all-purpose. You can use self-rising. Doesn't really matter. I just kind of use it as a filler per se. I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons in there. And unless I run out, that'll be the end of that. I also hit it with, and you don't have to, just a couple shakes of Hidden Valley Ranch. Like I said, each to their own, you know. Not everyone's going to like this recipe, and that's okay. Just kind of give you an idea. You can just use salt and pepper if you want to, or you don't have to use anything. Now, we find this Tony's Cacciatore just kind of kicks it up a notch. Adds just some really good flavor. If you've never tried this stuff, this is an excellent seasoning. And when it says great on everything, they're not lying. Now, this is probably a half a teaspoon. Just enough to put a light red dusting. You'll be able to taste it, but it's not going to be overwhelming by any means. Now, you can prepare these without an egg wash. If you prefer to not use an egg wash, that's absolutely fine. However, I like to use an egg wash. Personal preference, I find that the batter sticks better. I find that when it's cooking in the air fryer, you're going to get a better cook out of it. The batter is gonna brown. If you do not use an egg wash, your batter or your coating is going to still look kind of white and pasty even after the tomato's done. But you'll see that using this egg wash, it is going to help the batter to really adhere. It's going to be messy to apply, that's fact, but it's not too bad. So I use 1 egg, mixing it up here. We don't really drink regular milk around here too much. So you can use any milk substitute. This just happens to be unsweetened almond milk, and it works just fine. I mean, heck, you could probably use water, I don't know. You just need something to get in there with the egg. I don't season the egg wash at all. I've seen places that say to season the egg wash. It is what it is, but I'm gonna just bring you in here. I'm gonna show you how we do this, and then I'm just gonna get to cranking, knock them out, probably show you a few of them, and then maybe speed it up and show you how we do it. So what you're gonna do is grab your tomato, go egg wash. I try to use one hand for the egg wash. I grab some dry breading, put it down. My goal is I got a wet hand, I got a dry hand. This hand can then turn the tomato. I try to only pick up the tomato with this hand when it's dry. So it's fully breaded, give it a little turn like that, and now I put it on this plate. And it's gonna sit on that plate until I can get enough of these breaded to get a batch going in the air fryer. I don't preheat the air fryer or nothing like that. There's no need. My trick is I pick up some of the mix, douse it on there, and then I pat that down. That kind of helps me to keep this hand from getting too nasty. I mean, it will be, by the time we're done, you're going to be able to tell, you know, that I was breading tomatoes. It is what it is. I mean, you're cooking with your hands. So, all right, now I'm going to speed this up and crank these out. Alright, now I've got my air fryer plugged in. Move the tomatoes out of the way. What you're going to do is, I like to cook them on 400 in the air fryer. My air fryer is seasoned, so I do not need to spray it or anything like that. I just set them in there. They can butt up against each other, but do not let them overlap by any means. I try to maximize the space in the air fryer, and that's why I've cut some small, medium, and large tomatoes, because they're going to take about 8 minutes or so to cook, and you want to make sure. That's what I'm looking at right there. See that? I've got a full pan of them. They're going to cook for about 8 minutes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over with my olive oil sprayer. I'm just going to spray the tops of them a little bit. That's going to help them really brown up as well. I'm going to turn it on. I just go ahead and set it for 18 minutes because I'm doing 2 batches. And then what I do is I turn a timer on my oven right next to me for 8 minutes, and I check them. They usually take about 8 minutes. Now while that's going, I got the first batch in there. I'm going to use my time to go ahead and prep the rest of these. So all I have to do at that time is take the cooked ones out and then put some more in. You'll notice I had to add some more batter. The panko especially, they're just bigger pieces, bigger particulates, and that just doesn't stick as well as the flour or even the smaller breadcrumbs, which I was out of, or that Kentucky Kernel flour. So I did have to add some more. But yeah, you just coat it. Oh, another thing, whenever you do it, it's helpful if you kind of pinch it together. It kind of pushes some of that breading into some of the crevices on the tomato. Just a little pro tip, if you would. So around our house we call these fried green tomatoes, FGTs. Those are the two common names for them around our house. They're excellent by themselves as an appetizer. They're excellent as a side dish. They make an excellent addition to a cheeseburger. You just, instead of using red tomato, fry you up some fried green tomatoes and put that right on the burger. You can dip them in ketchup. They're good with honey mustard. They're good with balsamic vinegar glaze. They have that in the store already thick. It's kind of like a little syrup of balsamic vinegar glaze. I realized that was a good fit. We were on vacation in Branson, or Gatlinburg, maybe that's where it was. Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area, yeah. And we were at one of the restaurants down there, and they had fried green tomato appetizer, and when they brought it out to the table, they had it on the plate, and they had a drizzle of balsamic vinegar glaze all over it, and it's just got a good little sweetness to it, a little bit of a tang. It complements the fried green tomato really well, so we do that sometimes. But you know, it's good with ketchup. You know, you really ranch. There's really not a wrong way to eat them, in my opinion. As you can see, this is to be expected. Fried green tomato finger. You get that breading and stuff. It starts getting caked up and whatnot, but you just keep on going. And I'll just keep on using this breading until basically I'm pulling tomatoes out and they just don't have a good coating anymore. At which time I will discard the breading and I will start a new batch. So it looks like I have enough fried green tomatoes here, or FGTs, to do 3 batches in the air fryer. So my total cook time will probably be about 24 to 30 minutes, just depends. Since you are using an egg wash, you want to make sure that they get cooked thoroughly, since there's raw egg involved. Plus, they just taste better, you know, when they're cooked right. So, looks wasteful, but this is all clumpy now. It's not going to do what I need it to do. So I'm going to go ahead and make another batch, get all these breaded, and I'll bring you back. The next time I bring you back, we'll probably be pulling out some fried green tomatoes. Alright, so these have cooked for 10 minutes instead of the 8 that I originally had said, and they are done. The next ones will probably only take 8 or 9 since it's going to be hot and ready, but that's what they should look like, golden brown, and yeah, those are done. So I'm going to get those on a plate and get the next batch in, and then I'll bring you back when they are all cooked. Alright, just want to take a quick second and show you the exit video after everything's done. There's still one more batch in the air fryer, but honestly, after these are finished, I'm going to be ready to eat. In between cooking these batches, I've been out grilling some hamburgers, so we're actually going to take these larger tomatoes and we're going to use those for our buns. We're not carb free or anything like that, but we try not to eat a lot of bread. And we'll use those for the buns to go along with our beef patties. So yeah, that's what you get. They look delicious. It's because they are delicious. Like I said, I've got one more batch in the air fryer. They all end up taking, the first batch took 10 minutes. All the other batches took 9 minutes. Follow the same breading procedures as I showed you in the video. So yeah, make yourself some air fryer fried green tomatoes and enjoy. Thanks for tuning in this video and have a great day.